When I was younger, I used to watch a lot of movies, like so many. And like a lot of young girls, my favorite movies were chick flicks. I used to watch them like crazy. But while I was growing up, I realized that these chick flicks really put unforgettable notions in my head about my own senior prom that I was hoping that I would be able to attend one day. I envisioned myself in the most beautiful gown, silk corsage, and of course, a handsome date. And ever since, I have been awaiting my senior year so that I could experience what I had hoped would be my ultimate fairy tale prom. Last year, as a senior at Cass Technical High School, I was devastated after being informed that I wouldn't be able to attend my only senior prom. I remember I was sitting inside of the Grand Theater, inside of our school, for the Seniors and Parents Night as I received several handouts which indicated important events for senior activities and events. My eyes immediately fell upon the date that was chosen for prom, June 2nd, 2018. All at once, I felt anger, sadness, and like my foolish and absurd dreams of the perfect prom were crushing right in front of me. Let me tell you why. See, I was one of the many seniors, one of the many Muslims at my high school who celebrated Ramadan, which is a holiday in the Islamic religion symbolized by a period of fast from sunrise to sunset, which is typically, but not always, from about 4 a.m. to after 8 p.m. During this time, Muslims are expected to refrain from eating, drinking, chewing, etc., but most importantly, we are supposed to engage in abundant prayers, charity, and just focus on really building and strengthening our relationship with God. My family and I believe that during this time, we are also supposed to refrain from engaging in worldly activities, such as singing and dancing and attending certain parties and events and even listening to music. But every culture celebrates Ramadan slightly different. But since majority of the Muslim students at Cass Tech are members of the Bangladeshi community, our Ramadan practices are very similar. But the tricky thing about Ramadan is that every single year, the start date changes. Because Islam is associated with the lunar calendar, every year Ramadan starts 11 days prior to when it started the previous year. In 2018, Ramadan started in mid-May and ended in mid-June, and Cass Tech's prom fell dead in the middle. At the end of the 2017 school year, many of the upcoming seniors, including myself, spoke to several of the students on the executive board as well as administrators in the school about booking prom before Ramadan or possibly afterwards so that the large population of Muslim students would be able to attend. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to attend because we believe that it put a strain on our faith. Despite this, the administrators didn't listen. And we weren't considered when choosing the date for prom. So I decided that I would have to take matters into my own hands. First, I contacted the assistant principal as well as our class sponsor with a lengthy and very descriptive email detailing why the Muslim students wouldn't be able to attend the prom and that the date must be changed. But the initial request to change the date was rejected, but they did give me an alternative. They told me that they would push the start time of prom back to 8 p.m. Their reason for doing this was to allow the Muslim students an opportunity to attend the prom without missing all of the events. But why should we have to miss any of the events of prom? It's our senior year. Pushing back the start time wouldn't do anything for us because every single year, we know that the prom starts at 8 p.m., so how would this help us at all? I was upset. I was so upset because I told them that the date was an issue, but I never said that the start time was. So I replied to my class sponsor and I stated this in the email and all of the other reasons why this doesn't benefit us at all. And unfortunately, till this day, I have not received a response. As an activist, my mind began to contemplate the different ways that I could advocate change. And that's when it occurred to me that I would have to organize an alternative prom. At first, the alternative prom seemed like the best idea. I was working with a local fundraising organization. I even gathered a team of students within the school to help me create a video which entailed my story and would explain why I was advocating this issue and what I was advocating. My hope was that those who were watching the video would understand the importance of this issue and would help me in any way to fund the alternative prom. I had a venue, an event decorator, I had a theme, I even had a long list of decorations and items that I would need to organize this prom and all of the prices that would be included. Everything was going great. I was even aware of other students in different schools who were facing the same issue, whether it be in the same district as mine, the Detroit Public Schools Community District, or in different districts. But I wanted to encourage these students to attend my alternative prom because I knew that they wouldn't have any other prom to go to. But this prom wasn't just for them, it was open to everybody. I wanted to invite everybody who would just simply want to show their support or just come out and have a good time. But the purpose of the alternative prom was never just to have a good time or to provide students an alternative who wouldn't be able to attend their own senior prom. But the initial and most significant goal of the alternative prom was to spread awareness and shed light to this issue to the public so that they would understand the inequity that exists within our school systems. I was already in contact with several media outlets, so I knew that this would be big. And I wanted this exposure not to humiliate my school, but to encourage the Detroit Public Schools Community District, as well as other districts, to better accommodate students' holidays. But I'm stubborn. Before finalizing the events for the alternative prom, I decided that I would try once more to get Cass Tech's prom date changed. And instead of reaching out to any more principals or administrators, I decided that I would reach out directly to the superintendent of the district, Dr. Vitti. He reached out to the administrators at the school, brought this to their attention, and they finally decided that they would work with me. So as a result, I was included in several of the meetings where we worked to find a solution to this issue. But yet again, I still felt like they weren't really working with me. They were refusing to change the dates, and they weren't making any true accommodations for the Muslim students, and I was under the impression that they were using religion as a method to keep me from going in the first place. At one point, they even offered to help me organize my alternative prom. I realized that this wasn't working, but I was not ready to give up. A few weeks later, Dr. Vitti contacted me, and he told me that the prom date wouldn't be changed because of the large amount of funds that would be required to change the date. But as a result of my advocacy, the Detroit Public Schools Community District would change their systems and processes so that moving forward, prom or graduation events will no longer be scheduled during Ramadan. I remember reading this email and I was so happy. I felt so accomplished because the district had finally done something about this issue. And I decided that the alternative prom would no longer be necessary because my most significant goal had already been achieved. And even though I wasn't able to attend my own senior prom, I'm still so proud of my efforts in making it more inclusive for all students in the Detroit Public Schools Community District. Throughout this experience, there were a lot of times where I felt alone inside of the school. None of the adults were actually showing their support for me, or they weren't actually helping me, except there was one teacher who was giving me guidance. None of the other adults, none of the other Muslim students or any students stood up. Nobody confronted this issue except for me, and for that, I received so much backlash. Backlash from the students who I was helping, and they never missed a chance to tell me that what I was doing was pointless. But I learned that there will always, always, always be backlash, no matter how much good you intend to do, and I never let that stop me. I had support from some of my friends, my mentor, my family, but students always told me that there was nothing that we could do about the prom situation and that we'd simply have to accept it. But for me, acceptance isn't easy, and I have never been one to simply settle. I learned that if I wanted something to change, I had to become that change by speaking out and ensuring that my voice is heard. See, oftentimes young people tend to think that their voices don't matter, but I'm here to tell you that our voices do and will always matter. Young people are the future, but most importantly, we are the present, and that gives us the power to start creating change now. Thank you.
The Hero Roundtables are the global events that ask the question, what is a hero? You've just seen one hero talk. To find more and join the conversation, visit our website or social media.